we need a community.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
running a business is freaking lonely, man. It's so few people know what we're going through, and they're really inaccessible at the times when you need them.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Connections That Matter, where I feature Northern Colorado's best networkers and I find out about the connections that they've made that have made them be successful. And I bring a lot of successful people on the show, but maybe none like Tim Jordan, who I have here. Tim, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's nice of you to see. You've had a lot of awesome people on here. I love the podcast.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of people will know you, or maybe they're involved in the Service Catalyst community, but share a little bit about your background and history and how you got here.
Yeah, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have bought 6 businesses and started 3 others. And I've sold 5 of them now through different transactions. Mainly service companies. We did own Palmer Flowers for 12 years, and that sounds like a retail business. It's the largest flower shop in Colorado. But actually where we experienced a lot of our growth was on the wedding and event side because of my service background. But we have a window tinting company that I bought when I was 21 years old, which started a crazy run from 21 to 27, where we went from 0 businesses, 0 employees to 5 businesses, 100 employees by 27. So it was a crazy time.
And Tim, you do not look like not that I ask about people's age, but you do not look like a guy that's been around for very long as far as up there. A lot of people work their whole careers to have multiple businesses if they ever do. But how'd you get so much success at an early age?
Yeah, really just unstoppable, like maybe fear of failing, what it
Okay.
would
Yeah.
or desire to not fail if we want to put it in the positive light. But I married an amazing business killer herself, Danielle. She's a CPA and a tax accountant by trade, but she was just encouraged me along the way. And the one thing that's really core to our story is we have an amazing group of people around us, and some of that's friends, some of that's vendors, and just people that we built relationships with. A good example of that is Chris Burns. I shout him out
Yeah.
every
Shout
time I
out Chris.
can.
Yeah, do it.
He's currently vice president of Bank of Colorado, but I met him when I was 20 years old. He was a commercial lender at Wells Fargo, and Danielle and I sat across the desk from him, and he believed in me, and he gave me our first SBA loan to buy SG Window Tint, which that's actually the one of the original businesses we still own. But yeah, he gave us that loan when we were 21 years old, and so we have a lot of those types of people that have just lifted us up.
Well, I think that's one of your gifts, Tim, right? Like, is getting people to believe in you. Like, I know when you were able to, with the guy who owned Palmer Flowers, to sell to you and
Yeah.
not somebody else, right? Like,
Yeah.
from what I know of that story is he was trying to like maybe edge you out of the competition. And then in one conversation, he believed in you so much, he pinned you as a potential buyer for that. So
That's a story that a lot of people don't know. That's when Spiro Palmer and I met for the first time. He was going to open a flower shop right next to the one I owned in Loveland at the time, and he was sizing me up for competition. But I think I try and show up helpful, authentic, and now insightful as I've grown experiences in all of my conversations, and I think that's done well for me, basically.
yeah, well, I think it's like you have a knack of getting what you want by partnering with really amazing people that can give you access. Like being at 21 and getting a banker to believe in you, to get the sale to come to you, or find a buyer for your business.
Yeah.
A lot of people might be like envious of that. Any tips though, how to create goodwill or buy-in or win people over?
I think you give authentic value, like in without expecting return, right? I think that's been my secret to people really kind of believing in me and becoming like champions of me and my story. Is when first time I met him, I just authentically tried to help them in whatever way that I could. Maybe I couldn't, but they could read that I was going to provide value long, long, long before I ever asked for any value. And I may have never asked for value, but I think that it's like instant trust, right?
Mhm.
If I'm just showing up to just be a part of your story instead of how can you play a role in my story,
Yeah.
then I think there's an implication that I'm authentic, I'm true, I'm there for you, not just to see how you can help me.
And how do you make time for it all with 5 business, all this back entrepreneurial wife, like,
Yeah.
all how do you make time?
Systems.
System?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we bought Spiro Palmer out of Palmer Flowers in January 1 of 2015. I went from we had three businesses, not even counting all the flower shops, counting them as one.
Mhm.
If you separate it out, we had six businesses at that time. We went from 20 employees to 100 employees overnight. I didn't know anything about systems. I didn't know anything about delegating. Most of the people that ran that business that I now owned had children older than me.
Mm.
Um, they were all excellent. Spiro was a great cultivator of talent. So I had to learn really quickly how to be a leader, and
Yeah.
that microwaved my experience or the time for me to truly become a leader because I didn't have time, right?
Right.
So what happened there is I went from doer to visionary or leader, and so I started focusing on building systems and making ways everything in the business, everything that we do had a right way of doing it. And so we were documenting those right ways of doing things, we were improving upon them, and then creating a culture where we could empower a team to do that. So I had to do that at scale at Palmer Flowers
Mhm.
because I couldn't answer the phone and make the flower arrangement and do 100
Sure.
deliveries. And what was really cool about that is then that flowed down to my smaller service businesses. So they took on these or they received kind of this care of systems and that were unreliant upon me. So, and then just empowering a team. That's the other thing. I Palmer Flowers was partially employee owned. At that time, we had four employee owners. We at the time where we sold, we had nine. It was super successful. Nothing
Yeah.
about that was bad. It was all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they before company culture was a buzzword. I know it's been a
Yeah.
buzzword since 2021. They tasked me with basically my
Mm.
first job was culture in the company. It's because they worked in it. I mean,
Yeah.
it made
Sure.
sense, right? And I
Flower
worked
business.
for
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So I think it's those two things is we created some we learned how to create systems and to really deploy them at efficient scale. And then we had a culture where our team thrived within those systems.
So, but I'm hearing it's kind of a sink or swim kind of deal. You got dropped in the deep end, and and you're like, I gotta win soon, or otherwise this there's a lot of people depending on me.
100%. I mean, I've had some level of imposter syndrome or
Sure.
buyer's remorse or whatever in everything I bought, every business I bought, every business I started. So that was real, and that was a big thing. Especially succeeding somebody like Spiro Palmer, a foundational
Yeah.
member of our community, right? Um, but yeah, then I was 27. There's a little bit of assets, but we had, I think, $34,000 in monthly rent payments at the flower
Yeah.
shop. So it
Big
was
nut.
very
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
a you got to get this done. And one of the wonderful things about my wife is, like I said, she's a business killer herself, but it's just high expectations for our company. So
Mhm.
I had to meet those expectations.
That's so cool. And now you're with Service Catalyst
So,
and advising and leading other business owners. But tell me a little bit about the community that you're building over there.
yeah. So, can I tell a quick story?
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this really has to do with my network. I'm not a traditional networker. I use the formula I mentioned of showing up energetically, helpful, and insightful to the people that I meet. Build a brand, champion personal
Yeah.
brand, even though I would have never called it that, you know,
Yeah.
and let them kind of help me build my network. Well, I get 3 years ago, I met a guy by the name of Michael Wendt. He owns NoCo Pet Doors here in Fort Collins, or in northern Colorado. And he posted on Word of Mouth Fort Collins that would any business owner, sit down and have a beer with me. I have questions. So I don't know what inspired me to say yes to that, but
You didn't know
whatever.
him before this? It was just some
Nothing.
random post on
Word
Word
of
of
mouth.
Mouth Fort
It's
Collins. All right.
actually, I've done it a few times and had just the most amazing connection.
Wow.
So, I'd never coached anyone. I'd never helped anyone. I never even really saw my story as having that much benefit to someone else. I went in open-minded,
Yeah.
and he had a list of questions and asked me all these questions about his young dog door business. And
So he did it literally as like, I'm gonna learn from people. And whoever answers the call, like, right?
yes, yes,
So cool.
I think the vulnerability of that
Yeah.
drew me into that, right? So I realized every single one of his questions I've experienced. Most
Mm,
of them I've overcame or had an answer to, or at least had some insight on,
yeah.
right? And by the end of it, he's just giddy with all
Mhm.
of this information, right? Whatever, go our separate ways. A month later, he comes back and says, I did all that stuff. Like, I have more questions,
Wow.
right?
Like, I need to buy you another beer.
That's exactly
Yeah.
because I always buy the first time,
Do
just
sure.
just like I'm buying the beer this time. Yeah, so I went a little bit deeper with him in that conversation and realized he was really intelligent, ex-Marine,
Mm,
young family, young kiddo, hand to mouth in his business.
mm,
And I think that really drew me in, right? There's a lot at stake, and we've
yeah.
all been there. I was there, you know? So fast forward 3 years, he has this budding, successful business that he has systematized himself out of. He has a full-time installers, full-time sales team, administrative team for pet in glass pet doors is what they do. And that experience launched me into wanting to find a way to help early cycle service business
Mm,
entrepreneurs. Would have never said coaching. I do some coaching now, but really coaching is 1,000 a month or 5,000
sure.
a month or whatever. You can pay as much as you want. I didn't have that as an early service business entrepreneur. So how can we, the idea became, how can I create something that's accessible for newer service business owners that will give them resources, education, and a community, a place to
Mhm.
bounce ideas off of, to get answers from, to shift mindsets in certain areas. And I landed on an online peer mentorship community. It's hosted on an amazing platform called Mighty Networks. It's the focus is how do we build a foundation of systems to where as your business grows, you can achieve the freedom that I believe everyone wanted when they started the entrepreneurial journey. I know I did. Um, but how do we you need a base of systems. You need a
Yeah.
foundation of systems. You also need an ownership mindset. A lot of business owners don't have an ownership mindset, so we focus a lot on that. And we have to grow our companies, right?
Mhm.
So it consists of resources. There's tons of resources, a lot mostly built by me and the other facilitators. There's a ongoing discussion forum, if you will, and then weekly live events where we just sit down and tackle a topic together. Just last thing is last week's, for example, was on cross-selling, upselling. Again, these are early cycle service business owners. They came with the idea of I don't have upsells, I can't cross-sell in my
Mm,
business. I just, if they all had a different excuse, and in about 20 minutes, we could shift that mindset of every one of us has cross sell and upsell opportunities. It's just something you don't know until
yeah.
you've gained a little bit of experience, and we're trying to shortcut that mindset. So super cool to watch happen on screen. It was fantastic.
And why, I mean, some other people maybe make a course and it just runs in the back, but you've created a community. And like we just had Robin Baker on the show. I know she's a part of your community
Love
too.
Robin.
And she gets a lot about the other classmates, the other
Mhm.
people that are going through it and learning from there and
Yeah.
that accountability. So, was it a conscious decision to make it more community focused?
Yes, for a few reasons. One, it could scale, so it could be at $70 a month, or at most.
Yeah.
So we could offer it at an accessible rate and scale it a little bit and get more voices in there. Um, but on top of that, we need a community.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
running a business is freaking lonely, man. It's so few people know what we're going through, and they're really inaccessible at the times when you need them. Um, And that's not just for like, there's a mental health component, there's a
Yeah.
resource component of that. And there's also just, I know me, I get stuck in my own echo chamber, in my own brain of ideas and solutions. And just getting that out to somebody else oftentimes solves the problem. So it was intentional to be a community. In that's the primary concept. We have courses that are included
Sure.
in the community. We have some opportunities for coaching. I 6 months ago, I would have just thrown up in my mouth if I said I was coaching
Yeah.
people with that
Yeah, yeah.
title, But that's what people wanted. So we did do that. But the main offering is getting people, and every person who consumes it has to be a part of the community.
Mm.
It's getting people in there, providing resources for other members, and being a resource.
Mhm.
That's what I learned. So part of that story I didn't tell about Michael Wendt is I learned so much about my business
Oh, yeah.
by helping him. Right? I helped him implement a software, and we're done with it. I'm like, shoot, I need this software in one of my companies. And so if you show up to our office hours and you answer the question for yourself, but then you help give some feedback to other people, you're probably honestly going to give more by giving that feedback to other people than you
Mhm.
are answering the question yourself.
It's like that learn, do, teach. When you start
Yeah.
teaching, now you're accountable to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be, and you led with authenticity as something that's super important to you. So,
Very.
if you're doing the things that you're recommending others do, and then showcasing its success really creates the pathway for others to follow.
100%. It is so true. Like the resources I referenced, those are just SOPs from my company,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
They're literally just the stuff we're using to have success. And I, I'm I've been very fortunate in my career. This There is a cost
Hmm.
to
Sure.
this, but this is about helping people. Service Catalyst as a first, foremost, even probably second and third, is about helping other service business owners.
So cool. So, what's the vision? Where's it going? Um,
Yeah, that's a good question. We just being vulnerable, right? I'm about
yeah.
authenticity.
Yeah.
I've been running established businesses for a long
Sure.
time,
Oh, yeah.
right? Right, for
Yeah.
the last 15 years. This is not that. This is a startup. So we are in pivoting and seeing what's works, even so much so of times of events.
Oh, yeah.
So right now the vision is absolutely community first. We're finding we that the people that we want in the community also want some either group coaching or one-on-one coaching or masterminds. So we're figuring out how to offer that as a like, in fact, we just rolled out our first offering, which is just kind of like a one-on-one coaching with me regularly.
Okay.
But you got to be a part of the community,
Hmm.
and you got to be active, and you got to show up to office hours at least from time to you got to do the score accountability scorecard event, whatever it is. You got to be present in the community because I can help you with your business. My experiences can shortcut some pain for you, right? That's
Sure.
basically what being insightful is, if you will.
Yeah.
I can't do it for you.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it's probably better if there's a bunch of voices speaking into that.
Mm.
So, the vision is to to answer your question in a very long way. The vision is to go where the members are demanding us and
Yeah.
where they see the most value and they see their businesses growing and succeeding in.
Very cool. And I think there's some, you feel safe if you're around other people who are that early stage
Mhm.
entrepreneur where you're like, oh my gosh, I am not the only one with this problem. And being able to, like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs know that there's solutions out there, but nobody's shown them the solutions or where to find them. So to be able to be
Yeah.
in a collective where there's open sharing and
Yeah.
it's really more about the team is huge.
We found very transparent, a very high level of transparency from our members, which is I'm glad, right? That's really important to me. The coaching that I've done, that's another thing that I've found is people are just really honest with me, and I love that.
So with your people though, you talk about like execution and like implementation because there's so many good ideas out there, but some people take action, some people will get their teeth kicked in and keep going.
Yep.
Others are just naturals,
Yeah.
whereas others feel like they got to work for it. But
Yeah.
um, what do you see for the people that really make it, really scale, get out of the
Yeah.
early stage, are able to sell for top dollar? Any core um, behaviors or habits that separate them from the pack?
When talking about doing, right, the executing, because that's crucial to me, right? You can again, there's so many coaches out there that want to talk to you in
Right.
theory, which
Yeah.
that is not what we're doing. We're tactics, right?
Hmm.
Now you have to be in the right mindset, but tactics.
Hmm.
I think the answer to that question is they have a goal and they break that goal into steps. Right. I
Hmm.
think too many people either operate without a goal because it's scary. What if I don't achieve it?
Mm.
Or the other way, they kind of push this goal out there as this like thing up in the clouds that may or may not happen, and they never break it down into steps, right? There's tons of books out there about this, but that's what it's about. In our coaching sessions, we start with, okay, what's the goal?
Hmm.
Right? Okay,
Hmm.
what is the next step to achieve that goal? I think that's really what it comes down to. We even go to I coach on weekly scorecarding, so 3 to 5 KPIs in your business. I hate the word KPIs, but that's what they are.
Yeah.
Um, and you look at them every single week to understand the trajectory of your business on a granular level, and then to also identify opportunities and challenges quicker. And yeah, so scorecarding becomes so crucial in that in because it's breaking your goal down. All a
Mhm.
scorecard is okay, I have an annual goal. Great. Divide that by 12. Great. What has to be true each week to get
Mhm.
to that annual goal? I think that's the difference. I think that mentality, because if you just entrepreneurs, we have so much stuff thrown at us, so many marketing. I get on TikTok all the time, all the
Sure.
double your business in 90 days. That's my
Yeah.
favorite one. I'll teach you how to double your business in 90 days. Great. Right?
Sure.
How do we filter through all that? What CRM do you pick? There's just so many questions, and it's just breaking it down into what's the next step? How do I put my foot forward the next time?
Mhm. Cool. Well, Tim, let's go back to the networking because
Yeah.
I see your approach to networking is maybe a little bit more outside the box from what
Yeah.
I think the 90% of people do, which
Yeah.
is they look for an event, they attend
Yeah.
an event, or maybe they even join a group and they
Yep.
engage in the group. The way I see you networking is you're going to go after a specific appointment or a specific relationship, um, but it seems more focused and it seems really intentional to help you get to where you need to go. So talk to me about your approach,
Yeah.
and what have you done to refine it to make it successful for you?
Yeah, super great question. I'm not against going to groups or anything like that. Honestly, I think they're great. The reason is my career path just didn't take me
Sure.
in that direction. So I've had to find a different way to make that impact and to grow my network. And for me, it started super unintentional. I'm a helpful person by nature.
Yeah.
So I realized and was taught how to get people to trust me in a fairly quick manner. So I would just meet with people like that, and my network naturally grew because I would have champions or have people just talking about me, right? And how authentic I was. So that I then did begin to refine it of,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. What do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And that's how I came up
Mm.
with, I want to be helpful because that's who I am as a person. I want to be energetic because I'm passionate about business. I love it. And I found that people are drawn to that, right?
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
drawn to that passion and that energy. And then I want to be insightful. I have the benefit that I started as an entrepreneur when I was 21, and scaled so quickly, right? Just grew so fast that I want to share those experiences and shortcut the pain for other people. So, what that caused is that Michael Wentz story
Yeah.
where I ended up going deep, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
one person or a smaller group of people. And Mike said in the last year, some of the nicest things that anyone's ever said
Yeah.
about me. It sounds like I pay him to say that, And so that's how I refined it. And the the exit at Palmer Flowers and another exit we had as well, separate of that, made me available. So
Mm.
then I became accessible. I intentionally became accessible to people that I thought could benefit from me and from my experiences. And I don't expect anything in return. Sometimes I'm trying to learn something from them, right? But
Yeah.
I am authentically every time that I sit down with somebody across the table, I'm not trying to get something in return, and that's worked well for me.
I love intentional accessibility.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's I don't know if I've ever heard somebody like talk about it that way, but I think that's brilliant.
I think as you experience success, it's really easy to draw back into your comfortable life,
Yeah.
right? And I was just sharing this with somebody recently that the idea that I've ran established businesses for a long time has this experience of growing something from zero in an industry that I never even wanted to be in, right?
Hmm.
So uncomfortable, right? Just so
Sure.
intensely uncomfortable,
Yeah.
getting on the front of the camera and telling what my story, like, just not fun.
Hmm.
So good. Like, it's so good for me, and
Yeah.
it's caused me to fully realize, like, I don't want to draw back into the comforts of my life.
Mm.
I wanna push out and do everything I can to help the people around me that need it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think people watching this are, they're learning how to network. And but a lot of people when they go to these groups, they just or these events, it's random. They hope they meet somebody. They're bumping into random
Yeah.
people. Um, but there's some intuition with what you do. It's like Michael, this rando on a
Yeah.
Facebook group,
Yeah.
but it was his authenticity or his vulnerability that says, "Hey, there might be something that's
Yeah.
worth taking that appointment." And even like with me, Tim, like you and I didn't know each other, but you watched a podcast, and then you directly messaged me. It's like you didn't leave it to chance for us to meet. It's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is an appointment I'm looking to take." But that takes a level of like boldness,
Yeah.
even just to put yourself out there, ask for appointments. Um, any tips for somebody looking to increase their
Yeah.
boldness to make those specific connections?
Yeah, I think, it's always scary, right? I had nerves when I click send to the DM to you. I just what if I'm annoying him, right? What if my story isn't enough or isn't
Mm,
the imposter syndrome all over the place there, right?
sure,
Um, but I mean, the old adage, miss 100% of the swings you don't
that's
take,
right.
right? And also, if you are able to do it, authenticity and value forward, people love that,
Yeah.
man. They really just are they can read that in your message. So
Mm,
I really shy away from especially initial messages, writing them through Chat GPT or AI.
yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Um, just and don't get me wrong, big AI user, but
Sure.
that and when I'm trying to make an intentional connection, they need to hear my voice,
Hmm.
not someone else's voice. I I the best thing you can do, in my opinion, networking is find a way to give value to
Yeah.
the person that you're trying to connect with. Yeah, there's self-serving nature in that, right? But we're out networking for a reason. We all have goals to
Yeah.
achieve. But if you can start the relationship with, here's something that you want that I can help you get, and I'm just going to do it for you, and I'm not going to ask anything in return, like that's the kind of person that I wanna connect with,
Hmm.
right? And just because then they value my time and
Sure.
what's going on with me.
Well, Tim, you've been in Colorado what your whole life or a long time?
No, Danielle and I moved here, we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
People say, "Well, you're real smart as an entrepreneur marrying a CPA." I was not an entrepreneur, she was not a
Yeah. Okay.
CPA.
Right. Right on.
But, 2006, we came to CSU.
Well, I know in our one-to-one, we found out that like you were selling sweet corn or seed corn to my dad or whatever on the
Yeah,
farm. But you've been in Colorado a long time. You've been
yeah,
in Northern Colorado, CSU grad,
yep,
um, and there's development of relationships and your prestige and being around there that builds over the course of a year or the course of a decade.
yep.
Um, how have you seen Northern Colorado change or
Mm.
update? Is there anything specific that you do in Northern Colorado that has led to your success?
I love being connected to the university.
Mm,
Love just everything that they do. In fact, just wrapped up a ag entrepreneurship mentorship program, which was so fun. So I love that. I also, I personally utilized the SBDC a ton, the Small Business Development Center in Larimer County, a huge amount. They have stuff like they come in and teach leadership courses at Palmer Flowers, and we bring all of our young managers in and require that they go through this leadership training program. Just amazing resources. As far as how it's changed, I mean, there's more traffic. There's a lot more
yeah, my
traffic.
goodness. Yeah.
CSU's a lot nicer facilities
Oh, yeah.
than when we went there, but um, I I believe that it's changed less than most people will say. I
Mm,
think that this is a big small town, and
yeah.
it's one that really takes care of its own.
Mm,
And I found a lot of the leaders of our community to be extremely successful. Spiro Palmer not or extremely accessible. Spiro Palmer not being withstanding there of
mhm.
just they if they see something in you for that you can bring to the community, they bring you right in.
Yeah.
Spiro instilled this um, love for all of the amazing organizations like Hope Lives and Respite Care and all of these amazing organizations. He's founding member on all those boards and just gave
Yeah.
so much back through that. Maybe I've a jaded view, or not jaded, but a skewed view that just it is a kind of a small big town or big small town still.
Mm. Well, I think that's beautifully said. And getting the right connections, especially if it is a big, small town, makes all the difference. That
Yeah.
one big break or that one connection um, really will highlight what it takes to do business in Northern Colorado. So, Tim, this is awesome. I really appreciate you sharing the wisdom, but with your selective accessibility, if somebody wants to schedule a one-to-one or reach out to you or get involved in your community,
Yeah.
what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, you can always text me. My cell phone's 970-567-1376. I love connecting and talking business, so you will not be bothering me. The community is Service Catalyst is at thecatalystcommunity.com. We just are already a thriving we're only I think 6 weeks into public launch here. We're
Yeah.
already kind of a thriving community, but really are looking for other people who want to work on and grow their systems and share like-mindedness and have a space to I mean, you can bring your personal stuff to it. Like that whatever you need,
Yeah.
you bring it to the community as an entrepreneur. So that's how you get in touch with me. I am intentionally accessible, so do not be afraid to reach out.
Right on it. Or just go on the word of mouth Facebook page and say, hey, I want to ask a business owner a question and I'll buy him a beer, and Tim might answer the call.
Very likely, especially after I've done that now twice. Amazing experiences. I may go the opposite and say, "Hey, I'll buy any
Yeah.
business owner who wants to chat a beer." So anyway, yeah.
I love that. Well, Tim, thanks so much for coming on the show, and we look forward to seeing you around Northern Colorado.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Awesome. Hey, all, thanks for watching. I love networking and building relationships with other Northern Colorado business leaders. So if you want to come meet some of these podcast guests, meet me, or meet some other amazing entrepreneurs in Northern Colorado, I would love to have you attend one of our next events. Go in the podcast description. There's a ways that you can see our upcoming schedule, and maybe you could be a future podcast guest as well. Thanks.